Assalamualaikum everyone. Kindly let me know if I'm audible.
जी मानूर आपकी आवाज आ रही है.
Okay. So, Assalamualaikum, and I hope you guys are doing well. So, let's begin our session and begin it with the introduction of our dear speaker. So, we have Mehreen Tahir here with us today. She's a software engineer at Trimu Labs. Previously, she's been involved with a few major publishers. She's been an author and a reviewer for them, and of the technical courses is focused on the cognitive services. She's also a UGRAD alumna, and she has received the most valuable professional award by C# Corner, and is leading currently one of its chapter in Pakistan. So she has been involved in a lot of community speaking events, and she's a mentor and has been invited to various institutes and conferences to deliver the session. So for today, we are basically she's here to give a session on give a discussion on data analysis, and our agenda action to Python for data analysis. We'll discuss the language Python and the concept of data analysis, and then we'll run a data analysis on the COVID-19 data set. So, Mehreen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So I would suggest that you begin now. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So as Mahnoor introduced, this is Mehreen Tahir, and I'm hoping you all are safe and doing well. कहीं पे आवाज़ वगैरह कोई issue हो तो please just let me know, okay? So today we are going to talk about Python for data analysis. I'm hoping for an interactive session. So please, if you have any questions at any time during the talk, please feel free to shoot them. Just unmute yourself and ask any kind of questions you have. So to begin, little bit about myself. I'm currently working as a software engineer at Trimu Labs, as well as I'm pursuing my master's from LUMS. And I've been involved with Packt as an author and a reviewer for technical courses. So you can find my courses on Packt as well, especially targeting cognitive services. So I'm a UGRAD alumna, and usually I write articles in Code Project and C# Corner whenever I'm free. So today's agenda, I'll just go in a little bit more detail of the agenda here. We'll kick off our discussion with what is data analysis and why do we even care for all this stuff? Why are we here? Then we'll take a brief look at data analysis workflow and talk about why should we consider Python for data analysis and not other languages. We'll also take a look at the Python libraries for data analysis and data science, and wrap up our discussion with hands-on data analysis on COVID-19 for Pakistan. Okay, can you guys hear me? I think something went wrong. It just stopped.
Yes, we can now, Mehreen.
Okay, and what about the screen? Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So in simple words, data analysis is the process of collecting and organizing data in order to draw helpful conclusions from it. So we use analytical and logical techniques to describe, evaluate, and illustrate with reasoning, of course, to gain information from the data. So the whole point of this process is that we want to discover some useful information. And surely I'll explain a bit what I mean by useful information and what is data and what is information. And we find this meaning in data so that the derived knowledge can be used to make informed decisions, or we could know some more insights of what actually going on under the hood. But why the hell do we care about all this stuff? Like, what's the point of these big words, data, information, blah, blah, whatever? Thing is that data is literally everywhere and it never sleeps. What it means that every second there's millions of bytes of data being generated. Even जब हम ये लोग stream कर रहे हैं session, so we are generating a huge amount of data. Just to give you some statistics, there are actually okay, so more than 90% of all the data that is present right now was generated over the course of past few years. So मतलब एक second के अंदर there are almost 40,000 Google search queries, and if we do a little math here, it would be like 3.5 million searches per day and 1.2 trillion searches per year. That's like a lot of data, a lot of data. So I have a chart here. If you look at it, 2005 to 2020, you can see the bars are growing up, and up. So for now, we have like 40 zettabytes of data. And I can't even read this figure. 1 zettabyte is equal to whatever the number of bytes we have. This is like a lot of data. But data in this form does not make any sense. Like, what are we going to do with all this data? एक सिनेरियो की बात करते हैं दैट विल बी फॉलोइंग अलोंग इन द लेटर पार्ट. जैसे हम लोग काफ़ी देर से सुन रहे हैं न्यूज़ अबाउट कोविड-19 और कोरोना एज वी नो इट, कि पेशेंट जो हैं वो पॉजिटिव टेस्ट हुए हैं, दिस मेनी नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट हैव बीन रिकवर्ड और दिस मेनी डेथ्स हैपेंड और ऑल दिस हैपेंड. तो ये सब हमारे पास डाटा है. वी जस्ट नो ओके दिस पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हैज़ दिस नंबर ऑफ कोरोना केसेस. बट हमें कैसे पता चलेगा if the situation is getting better or worse? ये information जो है, it's going to directly affect so many scenarios and influence our decision related to whether lockdown should be extended or not, social distancing continue करनी चाहिए नहीं करनी चाहिए or whatever. So, अच्छा, अब हम यहाँ पे पाकिस्तान की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं बिकॉज पाकिस्तान में तो डिसीजंस के पैरामीटर्स कुछ और ही हैं, बट इन जनरल लाइक वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द वर्ल्ड हियर. सो वी नीड टू ऑब्जर्व पैटर्न्स इन द डाटा. Only then we can know and make decisions. For example, if there are no new cases, then we can say that it's safe to open lockdown and just go out and do whatever we want. So that pattern observation is the part where data analysis comes in. And we'll see soon how कैसे सब कुछ हो रहा है. So to conclude this part of the discussion, this why part, why do we care? Because we need information, we need insights from all that data. So now we are in a position to define what are the targets of data analysis. First one, of course, कि हम जो हमारे पास like huge amount of data, उसमें से हमें सिर्फ उतने piece of information chahiye which is relevant to us, which has some kind of meaning for us. So we need meaningful insights. और फिर इसका purpose क्या है? We can use it to educate, to pursue the personal, or to make some kind of informed decisions, whether it be related to investment strategy or AI models train कर सकते हैं, and there are a lot many things that you can later do with the data. Do we have any questions till this part related to what is data analysis or why are we talking about this? Okay, I suppose no, so I'll just move forward. So let's talk about the data life cycle here. अब हो क्या रहा है कि we have like a lot of sources of data. So first step of data analysis is that we collect data from different sources. And this is all raw data. Like it could have so many unstructured parts. It could be dirty as well. By dirty, I mean it could have missing values. It could have like parameters issues. Unstructured हो सकता है. So there are a lot of things that we need to know. Okay, यहाँ पे जब raw data में तो हम रॉ डाटा को सिंपल अपने मॉडल्स को ट्रेन करने के लिए या इन्फॉर्म डिसीजंस के लिए यूज नहीं कर सकते. We need to clean it for any kind of analysis. So this part is called pre-processing. Pre-processing में क्या होता है कि we try to convert it into a structured format. We fill in any kind of missing values that we may have, or like maybe streams अगर हमारे पास आ रही हैं तो उनको हमने data packets में किस तरह से convert करना है, वो सब कुछ जो parse हो रहा होता है, like data when you're bringing data into the form of tables, that all is a part of pre-processing. अब उसके बाद हम लोग data analysis पे आ सकते हैं. So this part involves applying statistical and logical techniques, and end result जो हमारे पास आता है, usually we try to visualize the results, क्योंकि visualize like bar graphs, line graphs, or any kind of graphs, since it is easy to see when you have right in front of you. कोई आपके पास ग्राफ आ रहा है तो उसके अंदर से डेटा के मीनिंग निकालना easy होता है. When we'll do the demo, you'll see if it makes sense or no. So now, why are we choosing Python for data analysis? Why not R or Java or C or any other language? So I'm just gonna quote some, I'll give you a few reasons for why I prefer to use Python instead of any other language. First reason is that you can get the job done in just a few lines of code. Simple, मतलब 2 लाइनों में आपका काम हो जाता है. क्यों? Because it has a lot of built-in libraries, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel, neither write like everything from scratch. अगर like if you are willing to do everything from scratch, that's also an option. कोई मना नहीं कर रहा, but it's good कि it has a lot of pre-built libraries, तो वो काम बहुत आसानी के साथ हो जाता है. Also, it's very easy to learn. I think most of the students were getting started with programming or some sort of stuff, तो वो Python से शुरू करते हैं. And it has like massive community support. So if you're stuck at any point, you're most likely to find a solution easily. Last but not the least, it's kind of platform independent. So you can use it like on Windows, Mac, Linux, and up to Jupyter Notebook. आप अपने Jupyter Notebook, by the way, is a tool for writing Python code, which we'll be using. So I'll explain all about that later. But you can also install a Jupyter Notebook on your phone and do coding on your phone. So it's pretty interesting. Also, if we look at the Stack Overflow analysis, जो observations करते रहते हैं, so it's like fastest growing language. If you observe on the screen, like there's C++, PHP, C#, Java, JavaScript, they all are like way below Python. And Python is increasing in popularity with every other day. So I think that's a plus point. So I've been talking about like built-in libraries. Now we can look at what are the libraries that provide us some functionality when it comes to data science or data analysis. By the way, data analysis and data science are pretty much related to each other, since we are not like differentiating both of them is not a part of this session. So I'm just gonna use them like interchangeably. Okay, so the very first library you need to know for data analysis is Pandas. What it does is that it adds data structures and tools designed to work with tables like data, like series and data frames. अगर आप लोगों ने R वगैरह में देखे हों, तो ये वो ऐड करता है. It is used for structured data operations and manipulations like reshaping data, merging, sorting, slicing, aggregation. Everything can be done with a simple function call. So I'm not going into details of these operations just yet, but we'll surely see them when working in the demo. And the next library we are going to talk about is NumPy. It basically introduces objects for multi-dimensional arrays and matrices, as well as functions that allow to easily perform advanced mathematical and statistical operations. So आप numerical analysis easily कर सकते हैं on arrays and matrices, which is a complex task. But यहाँ पे since we have a built-in library, so it significantly improves performance. Next important library that we need to know is scikit-learn. It mostly is used when we step into like machine learning stuff. प्री-प्रोसेसिंग एनालिसिस के बाद जब हम लोग उससे कुछ ट्रेन करना चाह रहे हैं, like we want to predict something or things like that, that's where we use scikit-learn. So it provides like machine learning algorithm, classification, regression, clustering, model validation, feature extraction kind of stuff. SciPy, it provides collection of algorithms for linear algebra, differential equations, numerical integrations, optimization, statistical, and more kind of stuff. It's basically built on top of NumPy. So it do the math as well. There are other libraries as well, but I'm not quoting all of them since I think that would be like a boring part just to like hear about all the theory. But there are two more libraries that I want to introduce. Both Matplotlib and Seaborn, both of them are used for visualizing purposes. So we'll be using them in demo as well, by the way. So Matplotlib is Python's 2D plotting library, which produces high quality figures in different formats. So if you have ever worked on MATLAB, then you will find the functionality to be pretty similar. There would be line plots, scatter plots, bar chart, histograms, and many other things. Seaborn is also based on Matplotlib, but you can also draw like higher dimension figures with Seaborn, like 3D pictures or stuff like that. Okay, so before I go to the demo part, do we have any questions, anything related to it? No? Okay, so I'll just move forward. I hope. Okay, so Joe, I was talking about like we are going to analyze this COVID-19 datasets. It's available on Kaggle. So actually, I have it right in front of me. खोल के रखा है so I could show you guys. You can just go to Kaggle and download this coronavirus Pakistan dataset 2020. So simple download. I just downloaded it from here. Also, here we are going to use Jupyter Notebook. I'm pretty much assuming that you guys know a little bit of the programming stuff here. So you are familiar about IDEs या Python के अंदर hello world वगैरह कैसे करना होता है. So I'm taking a little sharp turn here and I'm jumping into direct data analysis kind of stuff. Or the reason why I'm using Jupyter Notebook is because you can just run a single block of code. You don't have to run the entire program all over again. जहाँ पे कहीं भी मसला आ रहा है, so you don't have to like rerun. If you can see, I've already written a few lines of code, and it's all like in a separate block, so I can run anyone at any time. If you guys prefer like PyCharm, VS Code, or anything like that, that's up to you. Okay, so let's move forward. मैंने already a Jupyter notebook create की हुई है. I'll explain and like we'll see what is happening right here. So in the first block, like I'm here. Yeah.
Can you please see the chat? There are a few questions for you.
Okay. Sorry, I guess I missed. Here. Why don't you guys just unmute yourself? Yes, this is an Anaconda distribution. Which software? What do you mean by software? Which software is best for Python? IDE. Okay, so if you're doing like some very basic kind of programming stuff and not related to data science and stuff, you can choose any IDE. It doesn't matter. Like PyCharm is pretty good. I used it in the beginning. VS Code, since it's more lightweight, so sometimes like for now I'm preferring VS Code for all kind of programming stuff I'm doing, except data analysis. But when I'm talking about data analysis, I prefer Jupyter Notebook. Anaconda distribution, because it's easy to install packages there. It's easy to write code in there. It's easy to, you know, it's very simple कि आपको सिर्फ एक block run करना है, and you know where things are going wrong and not the entire stuff. Okay, write Jupyter notebook on Anaconda and it launches it. Is that a question, or do you want me to launch another notebook? I did not get your point. You can surely use C++. The reason I don't like C++ for data science kind of stuff is because it's kind of like complex. Faster, no doubt, but there are other complications. Like you don't find the kind of support for data science libraries that you have in Python. So that's why I prefer Python. If you want to go with C++, surely you can. If we don't know the basics of Python right now, then. Okay, so I think, Mariam, we can do like a call separately for that, because I was assuming you guys were familiar to a little bit of programming at least. If you want me to write a hello Python, I can do that right now. Usme masla nahi hai. But if you want to learn like Python basics, then surely I think we can get on another call separately. Just feel free to ping me anytime. Anything else? Amna, please, can you clarify write Jupyter notebook on Anaconda and it launches it? I still didn't get your point. So should I move forward? It's just I was trying to answer that about that Anaconda. Okay, so okay, I can show you that. So this is like Anaconda distribution, simple. And here is the Jupyter notebook. So when you click launch, it is going to take you into the browser. I don't know if it will launch me right here or no, because I already have it. Yeah, it's launching it. So you can see the home page in your browser, and then you can create notebooks and do whatever. You see this new button? So you can just create a Python 3 Jupyter notebook right here. You can simply use Jupyter notebook on browser. I don't think there is need to install it, right? No, Mahnoor, actually you need Anaconda distribution. And if you're working in your local environment on your PC, on your laptop and stuff. If you prefer to work in clouds, then there is Google Colab, जहाँ पे आप notebooks create कर सकते हैं and run कर सकते हैं. Then you don't need any kind of installation except the libraries that you want to use inside that notebook. तो उस time के लिए आपको करना पड़ेगा. But if you want to use like on your local machine, then you need to install Anaconda distribution. Okay, so you can just simply go to, I think it's anaconda.com or something like that, and just install it from there. Anything else? I have learned Python and ADX. I think they provide me direct link to Jupyter Notebook. That's why it worked without installation. I think they would have given you the link to their cloud based. क्योंकि जब cloud में है तो in fact I might be able to just open Google Colab right here. So this is like Google Colab, and you can create your notebooks inside the browser. You can upload them. So you see, I already have a number of notebooks here. So you can just like open them. If I open this one, I don't want to, but okay. Just to show you that yes, you can just work inside the browser without
Okay, guys, there is
installing
another
it.
Your, I guess, organizations will provide something else, like some link or something that like that, through which you don't need to install that Jupyter thing. If you are using on your local machine, then you need to install Jupyter and work on. Please, everyone, can you please open up your mics and ask about everything you want to, because it's a bit difficult for Mehreen, I guess, to open up the chat and then answer you all.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was saying. Please just unmute yourself. What about C Sharp? Yeah, so you're talking about ML.NET. ML.NET काफी like नहीं, I won't say like काफी popular, but it got some hype in the very beginning. But I still think it's like tedious. You have to learn the specific syntax of it. जबकि, or maybe because I've been working in Python since the very beginning for data science, तो इसलिए मुझे Python ज़्यादा easy लगती है. Like I said, you can do all this stuff in C Sharp, in Java, in C++. You will find something in every language, but I prefer Python, and I think it's way more easy. So if you want to go with C Sharp, I would suggest like do ML.NET, or maybe like just go to Azure. They have like online studio, and they can help you learn machine learning stuff in the cloud. Okay, guys, I'm leaving the chat now. Please, if you have any question, just unmute your mic. Okay. Oh, it got me for a moment. Okay, so here, like I introduced you to NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn. ये सारी libraries मैंने already import की हुई हैं. For the very beginners, you just have to use like a simple word import, and then you write the name of the library. As mean कि आप अपना like I don't want to write the whole word NumPy in my while I'm writing code, so I just imported it as NP, so I could just use the short form everywhere. And there also Plotly. It's another library. I don't want to go into details, and it will take a lot of time, but it is used for the data science purposes as well. So I'm just going to run this since there is nothing more to explain here. So we can import all the libraries, which is okay. So you notice that there's this run simple button. Whenever you're writing code inside Jupyter Notebook, you just have to hit this button. If I want to run this one, I'll just go to this box and click run. It's that easy. That's why I prefer Jupyter Notebook. So now we have our libraries. Next step is to import, like read our data. So pandas give you a simple function, read Excel. When you're downloading this Karuna dataset from Kaggle, it's in Excel format. So, and it's named COVID final data. So I'm just using a call to pandas read Excel here to import the data. And then there's also a simple function called head. I hope you guys are familiar with function calls, but it's function call is simply I'm just invoking this piece of code, okay, which is already been written. I'm not writing anything from scratch here. So if I call this function, what it will do, it will take my Excel sheet and will show me my data, the first 5 rows. If you want like more data, you can just pass in an argument. Let's say I want 10 rows, so it will show me like 10 rows of the data. So what we have here is like accumulated test positive, test performed, with date, how many patients were discharged, how many people expired like deaths, how many are home quarantine, last 24 hours में कितने cases हुए हैं, region who are still admitted, and the test performed in last 24 hours. So these are all the fields that this data has. So I was talking about pre-processing. You can see like this, sorry, NaN, it means that this field contain a lot of null values. We cannot perform any kind of analysis on null values. So what we do is we want to find out what are the null values in my data. उसके लिए is null का एक simple function है. So जहाँ पे null values हैं, it will return true there, and if there is no null values, that it will return false. But you see that it's not that much readable. So I want to make it more readable कि मेरे पास किस field के अंदर हैं. So I'll just use another simple function called sum. So now you see that it is giving me the numbers कि जो मेरे पास बाकी fields हैं like cumulative, cumulative test positive, test performed, it does not contain any kind of null values except the home quarantine. So this field has 139 null values. अब next step क्या है कि we cannot work with these null values. We need to replace them. Either it's with 0 or with whatever format you prefer. I'm going to fill them with 0. And again, I'm using a simple function call, which is fill NA with 0. And then I'm again going to print if we have any null values. So now you see these all fields have 0 null values. That was the point, to get rid of null values. अच्छा, अब मेरे पास, if you look at the data, I have like lots of field, and I don't need all of them in the scenario. Like home quarantine है या नहीं, I don't care. सही, unnamed है or whatever. All I'm अभी मैं observe करना चाह रही हूँ कि what is the pattern going on. लेट्स से किस रीजन के अंदर मेरे पास कितने पेशेंट जो हैं वो डिस्चार्ज हो गए हैं, कितने टोटल टेस्ट थे, कितने डिस्चार्ज हो गए हैं, कितने पेशेंट थे, कितनों की डेथ हो गई है. So that's the kind of information I am interested in. I'm not interested in who is home quarantine or no. Basically, we all are home quarantine right now. So what I can do is I can select specified columns. Like what I'm selecting here is date, then I want region, then I want how many tests were tested, how many patients were tested positive, how many expired, how many discharged, and last 24 hours के अंदर हमारे पास कितने patients आए हैं. So here I'm again creating another data frame. Original data frame से ही मैं data ले रही हूँ, but I now want information to be specified. So now I'm going to call the head function again, so I could view कि मेरे पास क्या function आ रहा है. So now you see कि जो हमने ऊपर column specify किए थे, date, region, cumulative test positive, expired, discharge, and new last 24 hours में वो सब हमारे पास आ रहे हैं. Since I'm using head, so it's using the top data, like top 10 जो हमारे पास entries हैं वो show कर रहा है, and you can see the कि ये I think 11th March 2020 was the first day maybe when first corona patient was reported. So if I use tail here, tail is like it will show me from the last कि मेरे पास last में कितना आ रहा है. What are you requesting? Okay, this is weird. Why are you requesting my control? Okay, never mind. So हमारे पास इस वक्त यहाँ पे जो इस डेटा सेट के अंदर मौजूद है वो आई थिंक 13 मई तक का डेटा हमारे पास मौजूद है. एंड देन नाउ आई वांट कि मेरे पास जो केसेस हैं उनको हाईलाइट मैं करना चाह रही हूँ. सो वी कैन जस्ट यूज अ सिंपल कॉल टू स्टाइल डॉट बैकग्राउंड ग्रेडियंट और रेड के अंदर मैं उनको शो करना चाह रही हूँ. आई थिंक आई शुड यूज लाइक ओके. सो दिस इज डूइंग फॉर द होल डाटा. सो अगर हम स्टार्ट में देखें, numbers are not that bad. I think situation was pretty good, but as we move down, it starts getting like red. जितने ज़्यादा cases report हो रहे हैं. Okay, so this is the best thing about it कि if you're using like built-in function, you don't have to specify their behavior. जैसे जैसे numbers ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं, you can see the intensity of the color is increasing as well. And at the very end, since we have like I think most cases reported, so वहाँ पे it's like blood red, dark red, it's something. Also it's like again lots of data. So अभी मुझे मैंने ये देख लिया है कि मेरे पास जो worst data आ रहा है वो last में आ रहा है. So I can just use the tail function here and just get like from the very end data. So this is much more like readable. I don't have to scroll. So if we look at the data, KP में जो total test cumulative पॉजिटिव टेस्ट हुए थे, क्यूमुलेटिव मीन टोटल, सो टोटल पॉजिटिव टेस्ट जो हमारे पास हुए थे वो 4875 थे एंड 257 आउट ऑफ देम वर एक्सपायर्ड और 2713 वर डिस्चार्ज और 1134 जो हैं वो लास्ट केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए हैं. I think we have most in Punjab for 13 where it's like cumulative tests were 13,225 and 214 after them died. So now we at least we know कि हमारे पास data जो है वो किस format में आ रहा है. अब okay, so before you analyze any kind of data, you need to have goals in your mind. What do you want from this data? Like I am pretty sure I want to see कि मेरे पास इस वक्त क्या situation चल रही है, कितने active cases हैं, कितनी deaths हुई हैं, क्या हुआ है. That's the kind of situation we are in, that we want to observe this kind of pattern. If you're using some other kind of data, that you need to define your goals in the very beginning. Okay, what do you want from this data? Otherwise, you will be lost by this point. Okay, so before I created all this, I had goals in mind. Okay, so goals are very important. Moving forward, let's look at the total active cases that we have right now. So total active cases क्या होंगे? जितने tested, जितने भी patient हमारे पास positive test हुए थे, minus whoever died and whoever discharged. So we are subtracting the numbers of expired and discharged patient from the total tested positive, and then we are just going to sum them up and show them in the red again. So here, Punjab right now, as per this data, have what? Okay, that's a huge number. But you can see now it's summed all the active cases for all the region, Punjab, Sindh, KP, Balochistan, and whatever other regions, and it's showing here. So okay, हमारे पास डेटा है, हमें पता चल गया कि इस वक्त इतने एक्टिव केसेस हैं, but we, like I said, we need to observe the patterns. Is the situation getting worse? Is the situation getting better? And we cannot know until we have some sort of visualization right in front of us. So यहाँ पे हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? We are going to draw a bar graph from the very beginning to the very end, like till the date we have the data, to see कि हमारे पास कितने total patient were tested positive, and we are grouping them by region. So if you see here, we are using again pandas function group by, which means it is going to take only two columns here, date and region, and वहाँ पे जितने भी cumulative positive test हुए थे उनका ये बना देगा. Okay, so we have a nice bar graph here, or since I've used like colors, so it's using different colors for different regions. So Punjab के लिए we have like this pink, and when I hover over it, you can see the region Punjab, date is 13th May, cumulative test positive is 13,000 and something. So this is like May 13th, and if I go down, then you can see that it's also changing numbers. So I don't think you'll get this nice representation in any other language. So KP region के लिए April 20th पे it had like 1235 cases. If you still have any questions, guys, please feel free to stop me here. If it's not making any sense to you, I'll try to explain it in more depth so it makes some kind of sense to you, okay? Just feel free to ask questions. Okay, so we can see कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो cases थे that were like very low, but as we are moving forward, the graph is just going up and up and up and up. So it's not yet safe to open lockdown, so please stay at home. Okay, that was like bar graph. We can also do a line graph, or okay, I'm not doing scratch. You can see I'm just using this dot line function, which is built in, and I'm just passing it the data set I have, और मैं उसको बता रही हूँ कि मुझे x axis पे क्या चाहिए, y axis पे क्या चाहिए, and then color उसने regions को देख के करना. So okay.
Excuse
Here,
me.
जी.
Hi. I have a question. Are you
Sure, sure.
entering this data on daily basis by yourself or
No,
what?
no, no. I just downloaded it from Kaggle. So if you know, if you're interested in data science, Kaggle should be your first point to check. क्योंकि यहाँ
Like
पे
who
आपको
is
हर किस्म
entering
के
data
data set
who is entering data in Kaggle? Uh, hospitals know, like government know, or maybe newspapers are also giving wrong news. So how can Kaggle?
Okay, so yeah, for that you can just read the description here. So about this file, you see, National Institute of Health website daily publication processed via Python, Camelot packet. So it's like we are scrapping data. Okay, the first thing जब हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि we need to collect data in the very first stage. That's where if we don't have data we scrape it. ठीक है, हम वेबसाइट के ऊपर let's see हमारे पास daily updates आ रही हैं. So if you just like check here, Pakistan corona cases I guess something like this. Yeah. Okay. So here you see that it has numbers. So World Health Organization and the health organizations in Pakistan are constantly working. Although I'm not saying it's very accurate data, but whatever the data is available on Kaggle and it's being updated almost daily by the people who are managing this data set. I'm not the one managing this data set. I'm just using it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so we were taking a look at the line graph. Here we have nice line graph. Again, if you hover over it, you're going to see कि किस region की बात कर रहे हैं, कितने टेस्ट थे, किस state पे थे. So if you see पंजाब का जो इस वक्त ग्राफ है वो सबसे ऊपर जा रहा है माशाल्लाह से. And at the very okay, so AJK we have like least reports. All this visualization is for the purpose we want to see that how many cases are reported and if the graph is flattening a little bit, if the situation is getting any better. That's the whole purpose of these graphs. Okay, so next thing I'm interested is I want the number of patients that were discharged. Again, it's like I literally just copy pasted the code from here down here, except that I changed the column name. कि अब मैं discharged में interested हूँ. I'm not interested in like all the patients who were tested positive. So for discharge, there I have the graph. Okay, now you can see here कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो graph आ रहा है, that has like some up and downs. Again, 10th May पे we had like 4,240 patients discharged who are now healthy, and May 9th पे we had some other data. Same goes for Sin. What happened to you, bro? Okay. So you see, so this is the discharge. I'll make this notebook available on my GitHub account. So if you have any questions later on, feel free to ping me on my email on Twitter, or just check out this notebook on GitHub. So now the next thing I'm interested is I want the death count by किस region के अंदर कितनी deaths हुई हैं. We got the patients who recovered. Now we need patients who were expired. So if I check this graph, now you see that there's a deviation. Like KP में सबसे ज़्यादा deaths हो रही हैं as compared to Punjab, which has most cases. So what we were maybe like when I was looking at it, I had in mind कि maybe Punjab में सबसे ज़्यादा deaths हो रही होंगी since it has most number of cases or whatever. But now that I am looking at the data, I know that no, that the assumption I was making was not true. The data is saying something different, and data is never wrong. Now let's look at what were the new cases in last 24 hours. Again, I'm using the same line graph here as well. I'm just like यहाँ पे column names मैं change कर रही हूँ कि मुझे किस column के ऊपर process करना है. So you see now this graph has more up and downs than the previous one. तो पंजाब के अंदर like 11th May I think was the least one in during these days when we had like 2,533 cases, but on 13th we had like 7,159 new cases. Same KP के अंदर जो हमारे पास 9 Mite पे थे, it will show you all the data you have. I hope it's making sense. So now we have observed the patterns. Next thing is kind of bonus, क्योंकि हमारा जो basic exploratory data analysis का part है वो यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है. Like exploratory data analysis is all about कि हम patterns observe करना चाह रहे हैं. The next thing I'm going to do is a bonus. Okay, so I'm going to use profit model from Facebook to forecast कि हमारे पास next days के अंदर कितने cases report हो सकते हैं. It's just forecasting model built in. Again, you can read more about it on Google or just feel free to ping me. So I'm just gonna import it. By the way, the libraries I imported are already installed. I basically installed them before running this notebook. So now we want the confirmed cases और हम aggregate कर रहे हैं, उनका sum निकालना चाह रहे हैं, and then I just want the top 10 entries in that data frame, so I know. Okay, so if we see हमारे पास जो 11th March it had like 19 cases, and by the time of 20th March we had like 381 confirmed cases. Next is, okay, so this line is specifically related to profit model. What it's doing is it's observing time series data. और टाइम सीरीज लाइक टाइम के साथ आपका डेटा किस तरह से चेंज हो रहा है, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट इट इज गोइंग टू प्रिडिक्ट इट. सो दिस DS and Y, these are like two fields that we are going to use on the for the prediction, and one is like date and जो टेस्ट पॉजिटिव हमारे पास कंफर्म हुए थे ये वही हैं. It's just these words are very specific to this model, so I have to use it. Now I want to see again I'm using the tail function because I'm more interested कि हमारे पास end के ऊपर कितने ज़्यादा confirm cases आए थे. So 29th March तक इस वक्त ये मुझे दे रहा है, and that had like 1,526 cases. This here now I'm training my model and I'm asking it to fit on the confirmed cases. This is something like fitting the model is very specific to machine learning. अभी के लिए ये समझ लें कि it's just going to observe the pattern जो कि data में previously observe हुआ है, and based on that it's going to predict कि आगे हमारे पास क्या हो सकता है. It's going to take a while to train the model, not that long, but a few seconds, I guess. Yep. So now you see यहाँ पे मेरे पास entries कुछ और आ रही थी, and now I have like future entries. Okay, future.tail. So it predicted something, and now I'm getting the future entries. So now I'm interested कि मेरे पास like क्या model क्या predict कर रहा है कि कितने y hat is like मेरे पास कितने number of cases आएंगे. This is like their lower bound and this is like their upper bound. Okay, so let me show you. Before looking at it, let's take a look here again. हमारे पास इस वक्त जो हैं 38,799 confirmed cases हैं. Okay, I just want you to know this number. Now it's saying that by 19th May we'll have something like 40,379 cases. You can just ignore the point values, okay? It doesn't really matter. And 23rd May tak will be crossing 45,000. Just remember this number, और अगर हमारी prediction सही निकल आती है तो do tell me, okay? Now let's again plot it, क्योंकि हमारे पास सबसे जो मजे का काम होता है वो plotting का होता है कि data तो आ गया but you know it just give it a nice look. So here's the plot. Okay, that's where we started on 312, and this is where we are heading 5th 21. So the curve is not flattening at all. We'll cross like 40,000 pretty soon. And again, now let's see हमारे पास weekdays के हिसाब से क्या forecast आती है. So here, this is the trend that we just observed here, कि हमारे पास जो कर्व है वो ऊपर को ही जा रहा है, it's not flattening. और जो हमारे पास वीकली ट्रेंड बन रहा है, that is like we have more cases on Sundays and Wednesdays, and then Thursday पे कम cases report हो रहे हैं. I don't know if it's like test नहीं उतने हो रहे or whatever, but that's what data is saying, कि these days you would have like most cases reported. So yeah, that's it from my side. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask me, so we could wrap it up.
Mehreen, can you please share the links of everything you have just shown?
Yeah, sure. I'll share all the
In the
links
message
with Saad.
box, please.
Okay, so I don't have this notebook on GitHub right now. I'll upload it as soon as I find time, and I'll share the links with Saad. I think he has everyone's email, so he can share it with you guys.
Okay,
does that
that's great.
sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
let
are you
me
done
check
with it?
again. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my side.
Okay. So guys, I hope the session was informative for you. If you have any questions, please let her know before leaving.
Okay, I'll just write my email address here. So if you guys have any questions later on, or I think that's my, I guess that's my Twitter. So you can just ping me there, or just email me if you have any questions, or if you need more link to more resources, if it didn't make any sense to you or anything like that, just feel free to reach out.
Actually,
Okay,
ma'am,
thank you so much, Mehreen.
I think we have a question.
Yeah, actually,
Carry on.
not actually a question, but I just wanted to mention one thing, that Anaconda is 700 MB application, right? So it's तो हमें सिर्फ जुपिटर चाहिए है इसके लिए, तो वो हम इजीली कमांड लाइन से उसको इंस्टॉल कर सकते हैं, pip install जुपिटर करके पाइथन की लाइब्रेरी. So I think that
sure, you can.
Everyone.
Like I said, it's entirely up to your interest. If you're doing some intensive data science projects, then I would suggest to install Anaconda distribution, because it's just nice to have terminal. If you're comfortable using terminal for your work, then that's I'm pretty comfortable with that as well. No worries.
Okay, anyone else? So thanks a lot, Mehreen. It was wonderful. So we hope that you'll give us time. And you were great. Thank you so much. So everyone else, I have a little announcement to make. Basically, we are going to hire the core team members again now, and we'll share form with you. We need a team for we need the PR team, the graphic designing, and we need campus ambassadors. So we'll be sharing the form with you soon, and you can sign up through, and we'll take your interviews, and then we'll finalize who will be a part of our core team now. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. You may leave now.
Thank you, Mehreen. Thank you. It was a wonderful presentation by you. Really impressive that you are working hard to get an awareness regarding data analysis, Python language. I'll be grateful if next time you can give some suggestions or your overview how this data can help top management in decision making. Like data तो हम ले लेते हैं और देख भी लेते हैं, analysis कर देते हैं, but top management है, they have to make decisions. तो इस डेटा की बेस पे वो कैसे डिसीजन मेकिंग करेंगे कि किन एरियाज में ज्यादा हो रहा है, किन में कम हो रहा है, इसको स्टॉप कैसे किया जाए, इसको रोका कैसे जाए. बेसिक पर्पस तो यही है ना टॉप मैनेजमेंट का, डेटा एनालिसिस से ये होता है कि डिसीजन मेकिंग में उनको हेल्प आउट करे. सो इसके ऊपर भी कभी थोड़ी सी बात कीजिएगा नेक्स्ट टाइम इफ यू अगेन ज्वाइन दिस टीम. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Mehreen, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I'm still here. If you guys have any questions, I'm still here. Okay, I just muted my mic.
Yeah, Aisha just gave a suggestion. I don't know if it was a suggestion or question for now. Can you please clarify, Aisha?
Yeah. Okay, so basically she was saying okay, we looked at the data, we know what the trend is going on and everything, but I didn't talk about the decision part. So ये data के ऊपर देखने का मकसद ये होता है कि हम लोग decision ले सकें based on that. Like I mentioned कि if I'm talking about like COVID-19 analysis, यहाँ पे decision ये होगा कि whether it's feasible to revoke the lockdown or not. Since we saw a number of cases are increasing with each passing day, it's not like no one in their sense would ask you to go out because it's just not like right. So authorities like government वगैरह should take a look at the data and they are the decision makers here. तो वो decide करेंगे कि no, that this is not a good time to revoke the lockdown. Next, अगर हम इसको आगे, क्योंकि डेटा एनालिसिस इज जस्ट नॉट अबाउट लाइक रीसेंट सिचुएशंस, ओके, हम लोग इसको बिजनेस में भी लेके जाते हैं. मोस्टली बिजनेस में ही हम डेटा एनालिसिस एंड डेटा साइंस की बात करते हैं. तो लेट्स से अभी हमारे पास किस चीज लाइक ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग इज वेरी कॉमन. सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स द यूजर्स आर परचेजिंग मच, तो उनकी प्रोडक्शन वगैरह को इंक्रीज किया जा सके. जो यूजर्स नहीं चीजें ले रहे उनकी प्रोडक्शन को डिक्रीज किया जाए. These are the kind of decision that higher authorities have to make based on these data patterns. So yeah, I did not talk about the analysis part or the like decision making part because I assumed this was a beginner level session. So yeah, perhaps if I come back with the same audience, I'll do that.
Yeah, we can do a session later on it, inshallah.
Yep, sure.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mehreen. It was great, and we really enjoyed the session. So I would like to leave the meeting now. Like you guys to leave the meeting now. Thank you so much for attending. Allah Hafiz.
For those who are here, we will be sharing link in the chat too. गाइस हमने फॉर्म जो है वो इस चैट में ड्रॉप कर दिए जो कोर टीम एक्सटेंशन का था, और वो हम व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भी शेयर कर देंगे, तो आप लोग फिल कर लेना। डेडलाइन भी हम जो है वो अनाउंस कर देंगे और इंटरव्यू डेट भी। सो ओके बाय।